Back in 2020, during the peak of a global pandemic, I sat down one day and finished all of the Tatami Galaxy. Many times before, I'd heard the sentiment of finding a piece of media at the perfect time. An album to get you through a tough breakup, a TV show to save your life, or a movie to change it. But I'd never really experienced anything like that before. Never had I found something that was so deeply relevant to my own life at the time of viewing that it meant something like that to me. And then I saw Tatami Galaxy. Tatami Galaxy is a show about a college student stuck in a time loop. The show is mostly episodic, with each episode having the main character, only known as Watashi, choose a different path at the start of his college journey. Maybe he'll join the tennis club, get into filmmaking, become a disciple of a man with the face of an eggplant, or forsake his conscience and make as much money as he possibly can. Yet, no matter which path he chooses, only unhappiness awaits him. And when he finally reaches the breaking point, where he's filled with nothing but regret and longing for that perfect rose-colored campus life, the clock ticks and the time loop resets, bringing him back to the very beginning with only a vague sense of deja vu. After trying again and again, and failing to find contentment each and every time, one such version of him ultimately decides to take what he believes to be the safest path, to choose not to do anything at all, and seclude himself in his small, 4.5 tatami-sized room. If a perfect, rose-colored campus life doesn't exist, why even try at all? When I watched this show, I was in the middle of trying to make sense of the endless quarantine. The last 2 episodes of this show spoke deeply to me. Watashi becomes stuck in an endless sea of 4.5 tatami rooms. No matter where he goes, there is no escape. And in the beginning, Watashi lives his days of endless isolation, happy about it. The 4.5 tatami room is his safe haven, the only place he'll ever need. He'd finally have all the time in the world to do all the things he never could. And in the same vein, as a teenager who just wanted to do the things he enjoyed while hanging out with his friends on Discord, why wouldn't I embrace the isolation? But after a while, it got old. And like Watashi, it got to a point where all I wanted to do was get out. My connection to the series could have ended there. 2 people stuck in their rooms for God knows how long, trying to figure things out. But it doesn't. And as Watashi goes through room after room, he realizes something. The little quirks of each 4.5 tatami space begin to catch his attention. These rooms aren't all exactly the same. They each represent a different possibility. Every choice he could have ever made, immortalized in each and every space within this endless galaxy. With each room a corresponding version of himself, and how he wishes he was in their shoes. How he wishes he'd done something, anything, to make something of his life. When I watched this show for the first time, the constant anxiety of the future loomed over me. As a teenager on the cusp of adulthood, I was worried about whether or not I could be as content with my future as I was with my present. Still undecided about what I wanted to pursue, I was lost. Would I ever find that perfect campus life Watashi dreamed of? Or would the choice I'd eventually have to make leave me with nothing but feelings of regret? I had no idea. It was much too early to tell, but it was something I'd let fester in my mind while I'd spent my days figuring out ways to pass the time in my small, 4-walled room. But I think I learned to stop worrying. Confiding himself in the walls of his 4.5 tatami room only left Watashi more unfulfilled than any of the other versions of him who actually tried. To this Watashi, they each lived lives that he could only dream of, ignorant of the fact that they, too, wished that they could have done something more. Neither the Watashi who chose to seclude himself in his room, nor the Watashis who chose to make something of their lives are satisfied. If all we can ever think of are the possibilities, the what-ifs, or the I could-haves, then we'll never be content. That core message is the beating heart of the story, and its realization marks the end of Watashi's journey. Something that's made very clear when, in the 9th episode of the series, in the final loop before Watashi's eventual isolation, the wisest character in the series with the face of an eggplant leaves Watashi with these words.
私が選択すべきはもっと別の可能性だったかも。1回生の頃に選択を誤ったのかもしれない。
可能性という言葉を無限定に使ってはいけない。君はバニーガールになれるか、パイロットになれるか、アイドル歌手に必殺技で世界を救うヒーローになれるか。
なれません。
なれるかもしれん。しかしありもしないものに目を奪われてはどうにもならん。自分の他の可能性という当てにならないものに望みを託すことが諸悪の根源だ。今ここにいる君以外、他の何者にもなれない自分を認めなくてはいけない。君が有意義な学生生活を満喫できるわけがない。私が保証するからどっしり構えておれ。
At the time of writing this video, I'm about 6 weeks into college, and it's been pretty good actually. I'm majoring in the degree I wanted to take, at the university I wanted to go to. 2 of some of my closest friends from high school are here, and I've met many wonderful people. The work's much tougher, but well, that was to be expected. And like so many Watashis did, I took the plunge and joined a couple of organizations. One of them being eerily similar to a club in another college anime. In spite of all that though, part of me is afraid. Afraid of the mistakes I'll make, the regrets I'll have, and the people I might hurt. But that's life, isn't it? And now I'd like to think I know better than to constantly chase after an ideal that doesn't exist. That rose-colored campus life that so many of us yearn for. I'm sure the next 4 years won't be perfect. Things already aren't. But that's alright. I live with the choices I've already made, and the ones that I will. About a year after first finishing the series, I wrote a personal essay about it for a school assignment. With the threat of the future being more immediate than ever when I wrote it, I thought about Tatami Galaxy and what that series meant. The essay was much too long, and I was a worse writer than I am now, but its final words were very important to me. They were words I needed to hear. And I think if that version of me saw who I am right now, he'd be happy. I have no regrets, after all. I think, right now, I'll just let life take its natural course. I don't know what I want to do yet, but when I do make that decision, I'll trust in it. When an opportunity presents itself, I'll grab it. But what I won't do is wish for opportunities that don't exist in the first place. In whichever path I take, I think I'll just make the most of what I have. I'll cherish my time, right now, as best I can, even when I'm stuck in the confines of my room. And when I, too, am finally free, I'll live.